Imagine getting a bill for $20,000 at the exact moment you think your new business is finally safe.
Oh, man.
Right. I mean, you've clawed your way out of debt. You've passed these licensing exams that are, basically designed to weed you out. You've completed your first year of contracts, and then boom.
Just out of nowhere.
Exactly. A piece of paper arrives in the mail that essentially says, you owe the government 20 grand you absolutely don't have.
Yeah.
And for a lot of builders, I mean, that's game over. You lock the doors, sell your tools, and you just walk away.
Well, yeah, it is the ultimate financial blindside. It's the kind of structural collapse that happens silently in the background while you are, busy hammering nails and pouring foundations.
Right.
And most small business owners, they never recover from a hit like that in year one.
But, and this is why we're here, Desmond Collins took that $20,000 nightmare and turned it into a battle plan.
He really did.
So that is our mission for this deep dive today. We are tearing into the Black Contractor's Guide, a blueprint to success by Desmond Collins. And look, if you think we're just looking at some dry, dusty manual on how to mix mortar or memorize zoning laws, forget it.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's part forgotten cultural history, part raw personal memoir, and part, futurist business strategy.
Absolutely.
Whether you, the listener, are prepping to launch your own startup, or maybe you are interested in the trades, or you're just insanely curious about how someone actually builds an empire from the dirt up, this guide maps out how to overcome systemic barriers and create a lasting legacy.
Yeah, and Collins builds his entire thesis on a very specific idea, which is construction isn't just about erecting buildings.
Right.
It is about building futures. And to understand how anyone can succeed in this industry today, Collins forces us to look backward first.
Which is such an interesting approach.
It is. He argues that for minority contractors to survive the modern business landscape, they have to, root themselves in a history of master builders that has, honestly, largely been erased.
Right, which brings us to the historical blueprint, because you can't build a modern business without a solid foundation.
Exactly.
And he introduces us to a man named Horace King, and his story is staggering. Born enslaved in South Carolina in 1807, King somehow becomes a master bridge builder.
Yeah.
And we are talking about massive infrastructure here. He built the Moores Bridge, spanning 900 feet over the Chattahoochee River.
I mean, just think about that. Building a 900-foot timber bridge over a major waterway in the 1830s.
Wow.
Right. Without modern cranes, without computer-aided design, and this is the craziest part, while legally considered property.
Yeah, it's hard to even wrap your head around.
So it requires an incomprehensible level of spatial intelligence.
Yeah.
But the business arrangement surrounding it is even more telling. His enslaver, John Godwin, actually eventually became his business partner.
Which is wild.
It is. Godwin was so confident in King's craftsmanship that he offered 5-year warranties on King's wooden bridges.
Wait, a 5-year warranty on a wooden bridge in the 1830s?
Yeah.
I mean, that bridge is subjected to constant weather, flooding, heavy wagon traffic, and King's reputation for quality was so, bulletproof that Godwin once won a major contract with a bid that was $2,000 higher than the lowest bidder.
Yeah, and to put that in perspective, that's the equivalent of about $40,000 today.
Wow.
They won the job purely based on Horace King's reputation as an architectural savant. He essentially engineered his way to his own freedom.
Unbelievable. And then Collins jumps forward to Frederick Messiah.
Right.
Here's an immigrant from Barbados who arrives in the U.S. in 1909. He's working as a common laborer by day, studying architecture and engineering by night. And by 1925, he builds the first elliptical concrete dome in the United States, right in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and he did it using methods of steel reinforcement in concrete that actually predated widespread building codes.
That's crazy.
It really is.
Yeah.
Messiah fundamentally understood the synergy between the compressive strength of concrete and the tensile strength of steel before the regulatory bodies had even figured out how to write the rules for it.
Okay, let's unpack this, because for those of us who aren't structural engineers, break that down. Why did he need both?
Well, okay, so concrete is incredibly strong when you push down on it. That's compressive strength. You can stack an entire skyscraper on it.
Right.
But it is terribly brittle if you try to bend or stretch it. It will literally snap.
Okay, got it.
Steel, on the other hand, bends. It has incredible tensile strength. So by embedding steel bars inside the concrete, Messiah created a composite material that could handle both the crushing weight of a dome and the bending forces of wind and gravity.
Wow.
Yeah, he was innovating at the molecular level of construction.
These guys weren't just following blueprints, they were inventing the engineering standards of their time.
Exactly.
It's like rewriting the operating system of a computer while the software is already running.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is exactly why Collins places this history at the very front of his guide.
Right, it's not just trivia.
No, it's a psychological weapon. Collins insists that acknowledging this legacy is an absolute imperative for modern minority contractors to defeat their single biggest enemy.
And that enemy isn't the competition.
Nope. It's not predatory lenders or aggressive building inspectors either. It is self-doubt.
Yeah.
When you understand that your predecessors were building 900-foot bridges and elliptical domes under the crushing weight of systemic racism and without modern technology, well, the idea of walking into a bank for a loan or bidding on a commercial project suddenly feels, entirely achievable.
Totally. And that historical survival instinct, that's what paved the way for Collins' own survival on the streets.
Yeah, his story is intense.
Because Collins does not hide his past. He grew up in a low-income area of East San Diego. He had a fiercely strict mother who demanded, military perfection.
Oh yeah, she would literally make him and his brother sweep their dirt yard until it was spotless.
Sweeping dirt. But despite that discipline at home, the pull of the streets was stronger. He joined a gang, PBI, battled severe drug addiction, and ended up serving time in prison.
Yeah, and he was released at age 27, carrying a felony record and possessing absolutely zero construction skills.
You're out.
Right. He lands his first job doing back-breaking labor for a company called Soltec Pacific. And almost immediately, he hits this wall of racial bias. He watched less experienced workers get promoted past him simply because of the color of his skin.
Which is infuriating. I mean, a lot of people would let that turn them bitter. They'd just quit.
Sure.
But Collins weaponized the anger. He decided to become so skilled that he was undeniable. So he goes for his California General Contractor's license, which is a notoriously brutal exam.
And it's incredibly tough.
He fails it. He takes it again. He fails it again. It wasn't until his third attempt that he finally passed.
Talk about grit.
Right. So he gets the license, he starts the business, he grinds through his first year, and that brings us back to the $20,000 nightmare.
The workers' compensation blindside.
Yes.
He gets hit with this massive bill because he fundamentally misunderstood the incredibly complex sliding scale mechanics of payroll reporting for contractors.
Wait, a 20 grand hit in year one?
Yeah.
If that's me, I'm locking the doors and giving up. I mean, there's no cash flow to absorb that kind of penalty for a startup. How does he advocate surviving a financial blindside like that? And honestly, how does a bill even get that high without him noticing?
Well, it happens because of classification codes. Workers' comp isn't a flat fee, right?
Right.
The state charges you based on the statistical danger of the specific job your employee is doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Collins didn't realize that for every $100 he paid to a skilled carpenter in hourly wages, he was mandated to pay an additional 26% into the workers' compensation fund.
26%.
Exactly. And if a guy's on a roof, the percentage might be even higher. So that invisible overhead accumulated silently over 12 months. He was pricing his jobs based on his workers' hourly rate, completely omitting the massive tax and insurance surcharges required to employ them.
He was effectively paying his clients for the privilege of building their houses.
He was. But instead of folding, he takes that agonizing financial mistake and turns it into the core survival mechanism of his book.
Yeah.
He argues that cash flow, not a lack of carpentry skill, is the fatal bottleneck that kills most new contracting businesses.
That makes so much sense.
So he develops hyper-rigid systems. He advises using very tangible physical tools to start, like the envelope method.
The envelope method. Okay, so what is that?
You literally create physical envelopes labeled for different overhead categories: Arco gas, Home Depot materials, Staples office supplies.
Okay.
And every single receipt goes in immediately.
I like that because it creates physical friction. When everything is just digital, it's, I don't know, too easy to lose track of a $50 purchase here and a $100 material run there.
Exactly.
The envelopes force you to confront where the cash is bleeding out.
Yeah, and he balances that old school physical accounting with modern payment technology. Like, he insists on using platforms like Venmo for instant payment processing.
Oh, instead of waiting 30, sometimes 60 days for a paper check to clear.
Right, because in construction, if you are waiting 60 days to get paid for a job you already bought the materials for, you drown.
You completely drown. So protecting the cash flow from your own mistakes is step one. Step 2 is protecting your business from the clients.
Yes.
And this is where Collins establishes ruthless boundaries. His #1 target is the trap of the free estimate.
Oh, this is so crucial. He explicitly warns contractors to stop wasting their time on tire kickers and dreamers.
Yeah.
These are homeowners who want to walk you around their property for 3 hours, brainstorming their grand renovation fantasies, and then expect a detailed line item material and labor breakdown entirely for free.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Giving a highly detailed, free estimate is like a Michelin star chef cooking a free 5-course meal just to see if a customer might want to book a table.
That is a perfect way to put it.
It drains the gas tank before the journey even begins. You are doing all the intellectual labor of calculating load-bearing limits, material costs, labor hours, just so they can shop your brain power around to the lowest bidder.
Yeah, and Collins offers a brilliant structural solution to this dynamic. He says change the vocabulary.
Change the vocabulary.
Yeah. You completely eliminate the word estimate
Mm-hmm.
from your business language. You replace it with consultation.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. Because a consultation carries inherent professional weight. He advises charging a consultation fee or requiring a deposit,
How much of a deposit?
sometimes up to $1,000 for serious inquiries.
Wow. Which instantly filters out the people who aren't financially prepared to actually do the work.
Exactly. And to soften the friction for the client, you explain that this deposit will be directly applied to the final contract if they choose to hire you.
Oh, okay.
It's a mechanism to weed out the vampires draining your time.
I love that. And he has another unbreakable rule when it comes to bidding those jobs. Never bid based on what you think the contractor down the street is charging.
Never.
Collins mandates a strict 15% markup on all materials across the board, no exceptions.
This raises an important question, though. Why is this boundary so difficult to enforce for new contractors?
Yeah, why is it?
Well, marginalized builders, or just new business owners in general, they often feel a systemic pressure to underprice their worth simply to get a foot in the door.
Right, they just want the job.
Exactly. They believe they have to be the cheapest option to even be considered for the project. So Collins's strict 15% markup and his consultation fees are like radical acts of professional self-worth.
That makes total sense.
That markup ensures that the invisible overhead, the gas driving between sites, the wear and tear on your circular saws, the workers' comp premiums, is actually covered.
And he is equally unbending about who he allows on his job sites. He shares this brutal story about a hiring mistake where he brought a guy on just because the guy was enthusiastic and knew a guy who vouched for him.
We've all been there.
Right. The worker shows up late, doesn't bring his own tools, and eventually just abandons a project halfway through, leaving Collins scrambling.
Total nightmare.
So now, Collins hires strictly based on a 4-point vetting checklist. It's skills, tools, attitude, and dependability. Miss one box, you don't get on the crew.
Yeah, you have to build a protective moat around the business. Those firm boundaries, financial, linguistic, and personnel, they secure the present.
Right.
But Collins knows that to build generational wealth, you have to anticipate the tools of the future.
Which is such a pivot from the daily grind.
It is. He transitions from surviving today to scaling for tomorrow, leaning heavily into construction technology.
Yeah, this is the part of the guide that feels like a sci-fi novel, but it is happening right now on job sites. We are pivoting from concrete and 2x4s to artificial intelligence and drones.
It's wild.
Collins is a massive advocate for using AI as a silent business partner. He uses ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot to draft complex professional emails, write business plans, analyze project data.
Yeah.
He specifically highlights using prompt engineering plugins like BotBrush.
Which is a crucial detail, by the way,
Yeah.
because most people just type a generic question into an AI and get a generic, unhelpful answer.
Right, they get frustrated and quit.
Exactly. Prompt engineering is the skill of telling the AI exactly what persona to adopt and what parameters to follow. Tools like BotBrush help fine-tune the AI so it stops acting like a generic chatbot.
And starts acting like what?
Like a highly intelligent, construction-specific administrative secretary that actually understands building codes and contract law.
That is incredible. And he integrates hardware technology, too. He's flying unmanned aerial vehicles or drones for topographical site mapping.
Yeah, instead of a human surveyor spending 3 days walking a multi-acre lot with measurement sticks, a drone can map the entire topography in hours. Collins uses them for calculating cut-and-fill operations.
Okay, wait, what exactly is cut and fill for the non-landscapers listening to us right now?
Sure, so It is the process of moving dirt to level a building site. You cut earth from a high spot and fill it into a low spot.
Ah,
Yeah. Miscalculating the volume of dirt you need to move can cost tens of thousands of dollars in heavy machinery rentals. But the drone uses sensors to map the exact volume of dirt down to the cubic inch.
that's amazing.
And he also mounts thermal cameras on these drones to detect invisible roof leaks.
Wait, how does a camera see a leak without a human peeling back the shingles?
It's pretty brilliant. Water retains heat differently than dry roofing material. So as the sun sets and the roof cools down, the trapped moisture underneath the shingles stays warmer for longer.
Oh, I see.
The thermal camera on the drone picks up that temperature differential, creating a heat map that shows exactly where the water is pooling,
Wow.
completely eliminating the need for a worker to blindly climb a ladder and tear apart the roof looking for the source.
That is so efficient. And Collins goes even further into the physical build process itself, spotlighting modular and 3D construction printing, or 3DCP.
Yes.
This involves huge robotic arms extruding concrete layer by layer, drastically reducing labor costs and material waste. He notes that companies like SpaceX are researching these exact 3D extrusion methods to potentially build habitats on the Moon and Mars within the next decade.
It is a massive paradigm shift. But bringing robotics and AI into trades that are defined by sweat equity often meets intense resistance from traditional builders.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear people listening to this right now thinking, wait a minute, we are talking about carpentry, masonry, plumbing. These are deeply hands-on physical trades. Doesn't utilizing an AI chatbot or a flying drone sound like a complete contradiction to swinging a hammer?
This is the exact fear most people have, but Collins addresses it with one of the most powerful lines in his guide. He writes, "AI won't take your job. People or companies using AI will."
Woo, that's a gut punch.
It is. But what Collins realized is that these futurist tools are the ultimate equalizers. For decades, massive construction corporations held a monopoly on big bids because they could afford to hire armies of administrative staff, risk managers, and data analysts.
Right.
Now, a minority contractor running a lean crew out of a small office can wield the administrative, analytical, and marketing power of a massive corporation without the crippling six-figure payrolls.
Wow.
AI and drones don't replace the hammer. They ensure you are swinging the hammer at the most profitable, efficiently managed project possible.
It takes the technology from being this intimidating, job-stealing force and turns it into a lever to lift up the small business owner.
Absolutely.
And that brings this entire deep dive directly back to you, the listener. It doesn't matter if you are literally swinging a hammer, if you are prepping to walk into a corporate board meeting, or if you are trying to navigate a massive pivot in your own career.
Yeah,
Collins's blueprint applies everywhere.
it really does. First, you have to understand the historical giants whose shoulders you stand on. Let the engineering genius of Horace King and Frederick Messiah defeat your own imposter syndrome. Second, build ruthless, unapologetic boundaries around your time, your expertise, and your value. Stop letting clients take your blueprints to the copy shop for free.
Yes.
And third, learn the new tools of your trade before those tools end up replacing you.
But, if we project this technological trajectory forward, it leaves us with a final, highly complex thread to mull over.
What's that?
Well, and the inevitable future of construction and development relies heavily on 3D concrete printing, AI-driven data analysis, and off-site modular assembly done by robotics. What happens to the inherent human element of craftsmanship?
Oh, that's a huge question.
Right. Will the master builders of tomorrow resemble software engineers sitting behind screens rather than the physical, tactile artisans we learned about today?
Yeah.
As we engineer the friction and the physical labor out of the building process, how do we ensure that we preserve the distinct human soul of the builder in a fully automated world?